Attention spans are shorter than you might think, and if I say something like web development is expensive, that might be the only thing someone hears, then they'll spend a whole bunch of money. There are free ways to learn topics, and the free versions are usually not the reason why people would pay for a service. Web development has a lot of complexities that might not be obvious to people who haven't thought that much about it. It's also possible to think about all of the constructs for years without making much progress towards business stability. Software engineers invest years before their skills are specifically applicable to business contexts. It is possible for a business owner to assign tasks to a person who knows how to code, and it's also possible to learn how to code before you learn software engineering. You need to care about software engineering enough to actually learn it. We tried hiring software engineers who cared more about the money, and it turns out they don't design systems they want to maintain. Software engineers who are only doing it for the money can't design systems that they want to maintain. Cheers! You don't need to pay for every single streaming service every month. And also, with the AI models, you don't need to spend money on AI every month. If you have a group of more than a dozen people, someone probably needs to spend some money towards maintaining stability about the group. And it is possible to do this with software, and it is possible to do this with AI. If you have a group of people, you're going to be doing things with your time anyway, and you don't need to be doing AI with your time. It might be easier to organize things if you can automate the organization process. If you like organizing anyway, you can just do that. Cheers! Eventually, you're probably going to want one of my services, and talking about the pricing will get in the way of actually getting the service. You won't want to be disappointed, and you have the need of the service that I'm offering. Professionally, I've been a software engineer for the past 15 years, and I've been tailoring my services to what people actually use. If you're a business owner or author or artist, you're likely going to need a website at some point. Most people would benefit from networking. Software engineers need to learn about networking from a computer standpoint, and towards the middle of one's software engineering career, when they become managers, they need to start considering how the metaphors apply to real people. The concept of this video is that I've had a group chat streak going for the past 201 days. It is possible to make daily progress. Cheers! I got fired twice in 2022, and since then, my annual income has been about 15 times lower. These social media platforms don't pay for the content that I put on them, and there are rules for getting into their programs. If I follow those rules, it isn't guaranteed that I will be accepted into their payment programs, and I can't control my audience. I rely on tips and donations from people who know they can, who know they can be supportive when they can be. I also offer services, and I'll be making content anyway. If I want to get hired as a software engineer, I need to demonstrate skills as a software engineer in a contemporary context. So I also need to be doing development anyway. I have a team on TikTok, and we've maintained a streak for 201 days. Cheers! Today is RPG Wednesday, and I'm continuing production with my group chat. We have a streak pet going on, growing. We have a streak going on with a streak pet growing, and it's been growing for 200 days. It is possible to generate stories, and we can read the stories that we generate, and we can only share the parts that we find worth sharing if we want to. Because we have RPG Wednesday, which is every Wednesday, we can wait until Wednesday. So it is possible to do something weekly and spend the rest of the week wondering about how you can add depth based on your real life experiences. Today, I'm reflecting on a library concept. I'm thinking about how to make a library more interesting for a magical fantasy kind of world. So I'm also going to want to go to the library at some point to add some depth to what I pardon, to what I can consider. And an idea is that on Book Talk, I would have conversations with other authors and we can world build towards the stories we want to tell. More updates on the paid tiers of my Patreon. Cheers! Social taboo, technological burnout, and psychological strife. Are those the categories with AI? We've had some time to explore them, the problems that can pop up, and it has been possible to discuss these and wonder about solutions in community. I've had a streak on TikTok for 200 days, 201 today. Also, today is RPG Wednesday. You can tell stories, you can create a character that encourages you to wonder about the world. Cheers. Software engineers need to know data structures and algorithms well enough to be able to apply them. Apply the principles both to applying to jobs and doing the software engineering tasks. When we know we can describe something, we can describe wanting the work around it done, even if the work around it is more difficult than the tasks. Then the tasks we can describe. So we need people who can relate to what we're trying to do and relate to how that develops over time. And we need these people to be able to describe what it might cost to accomplish a goal. Ultimately, cost is a subjectively experienced dimension, and eventually in your software engineering career, you're going to need to find language to communicate your relationship to cost. I appreciate TikTok because you can run promotions and you can make TikToks and you can send gifts to people and see which dimensions of engagement make it easier for your goals. Which dimensions of engagement are associated with which costs, and how those are both related to the goals you're trying to accomplish. Also, how time relates to your understanding of the goals that you once sought as they develop. Cheers. I heard you do websites. Do you want a website? I really don't want a website. I have a website. Good for you. Do you need a website? Yeah, I need a website. I can make you one. How much will it cost? What's your budget? I really don't know how much these are supposed to cost. I've been doing this for 15 years. I don't know what that means. Between $200 and $1,000. I have a friend who paid more. Did they like it? Not really. We can add more checkpoints. I can do this myself. You can. I've made videos to point out some easier structures. I assume you've seen them. You make too many videos. My group chat my group chat recently reached 200 days in our group chat streak. I don't know what that means. Ask me on RPG Wednesday. I'm an author and I don't like short form media. It's really easy to consume short form media. I don't like it. Do you ever watch short form media? I never watch short form videos. Do you read it? I read the occasional tweet, the occasional skeet. What's it to ya? If people like your voice, they might like your other content. I don't have time to make, pardon, I don't have time to be making short form videos. You might know someone who does. Cheers. If you make different kinds of content when you have the energy to, you're going to reach different audiences at different times. I would recommend making videos so you can find an audience and there might be a reason for someone to strike up a conversation with you when you go live. If you're doing the same things as another creator, that creator might recognize a similar goal. If you aren't working on things that create a common goal that you can share, then other people won't be able to share a common goal with you. You can go live and clip the moments where your flow feels natural, and that can reach another audience. If your goal is to communicate clearly for the captions and eventually stitch your videos together to summarize them, you might prioritize different dimensions. Cheers! Mr. Boone Wap is a sentient pie of the quinary five. Boone, Boone, Boone. Mr. Bane Wap, the pie was gonna bap. Bane, being a pie. Bone, a boon, boon, a boon, boon. Today is RPG Wednesday, and one of my group chats has a 201-day streak going on. RPG Wednesday has existed for about a year, at least a year, more than a year, but the important part is that I've been focused on creating something specific. I've been focusing on creating something specific because people always ask me how I make money or what I do that is valuable. It's been kind of surprising to see how people value the content they consume and the ways that we relate to mindfulness. I try to encourage intergenerational media literacy by pointing to authors on Book Talk, and if I kept on saying the same thing over and over again, I would feel like an ad. So I want to point to ecosystems where products can be exchanged, like marketplaces, and I also want to provide value with my content. And I'm also making things. Like, as an artist, I have a desire to make art, and I relate to that process. Today is RPG Wednesday. You can have made a character sheet. I'm not sure if that's the right tense. It's been possible for you to make a character sheet for this entire time. On RPG Wednesdays, when I go live on TikTok, I often tell a story, updating the plot. Throughout the day, throughout the week, I also make art with my team. There's a production process. Cheers! I need to produce a show for an audience who might not have a very long attention span, so one of the easiest ways to do that is to associate every single day in my group chat streak with content. We've needed to send messages and, well, there are benefits to sending videos and photos. Like posts on TikTok, there are benefits to sending TikTok posts via the group chat for the streak. So we have been sending each other content, and my job is to tie this in with a story that other creative people want to participate in. That's the reason that I've been developing lore.land, and it's also the reason why that site isn't very interesting or attractive yet. There needs to be work for me to give someone to include them on something towards something. So the concept is 200 days can map onto 200 episodes, and we can generate those episodes every day. We can also spend the next 200 days doing something per day, and if I need to do this work anyway, I might as well match the pace. Cheers! If you make thousands of TikToks and go live for hundreds of hours, you can market test your content and see how your voice sounds. People will leave comments pointing out different details that you can consider. TikTok's filters can come in handy, and you can meet people whose opinions you care about. Cheers! I need to make art for my team anyway, and I'll make more art if I can. I'll make more art if I can afford to. If you are a business owner, you likely need a website, and I've been a software engineer who has navigated client relationships for 15 years. I mentioned websites, and you might ask me for websites, but you might actually want business consultation that is shaped like web development. Software engineers need to know about networking, like the technology terminology. We need to know how computers communicate, and there are a lot of metaphors that are relevant for how humans communicate. Today is RPG Wednesday, and I'm planning on going live later. Ask me about web development. Cheers.